Hello and welcome to Natty's Crafts. Today I am so excited to join my first ever challenge, and it's Heidi Sonboul's Easter DIY challenge. Now her channel and everything will be down in the description, so make sure you check out the description. Here's what I'm actually going to be making here, something I found online. So you're going to need a small sign, the kind that are like a box from Dollar Tree. You're going to need a good handful of large craft sticks, and then some Easter eggs of some sort, and some Spanish moss or some sort of greenery. And then this is actually the greenery I end up using, were those Dollar Tree leaves, that garland. That's what I ended up using. And then this little flower, also from Dollar Tree. Just a spring flower would work, whatever color you like. And then some paints. I had a couple different ideas in my mind. I ended up only using white paint and some pink for the eggs. And then, of course, your favorite paintbrush and the best ever Dollar Tree brush cleaner. So we're going to start off just by making the paint for the eggs. You see I had started some over there. And I was wanting them to be a little bit lighter, so I was going to remix it and see if I could make it a little lighter. They ended up looking the same, honestly, so I could have just left it. But we're going to do it again. And these, of course, could be any color you'd like, whatever goes with your decor or your little Easter setup. I was wanting to do blue and purple and pink, but I ended up just with a very light gray and pink, which is fine. I'm okay with that. And then we're going to take off the sticker from the Dollar Tree sign. I just heated it up with my hair dryer, and then it's pretty easy to peel once it's warmed up and that glue is released. So just going to take that sticker off. And then I'm going to keep that little hanger. We're not going to need it here, but we can, of course, use it in the future. Now, this little sign had glitter, of course, and that is going to be the bottom of our little tray, but I still did want to take it off. So I ended up just heating it up and peeling off that top layer there. And then we're just going to sand it down a bit just so it's smooth. You know, again, this is going to be the bottom, so it will be painted, but it is the bottom. And I'm going to use, I was going to use white chalk paint, and I sure wish I would have gone ahead and painted it at this point, but I decided not to. I decided instead to put it together and then paint it. A little advice, go ahead and paint each piece first and then put it together. This was very difficult to paint once it was all put together. So I'm just measuring here, cutting basically each craft stick in half, and that was a good height for me. It's going to look like a little fence. So I just cut each craft stick in half, and then we're going to glue it on. So here, again, I was just measuring out the craft sticks. Looks like I'm going to need 6 on each wall of the box. So I just will need 24 total to go all the way around half sticks, I should say. So 12 total sticks cut in half each, which makes 24 sticks. And that's what you'll need for the fencing around, if yours measures like mine and you want it like mine. And this is fairly easy. You can do this with scissors. My hands, my thumbs have become so useless, arthritic, that I can no longer cut these in half somehow. So I'm using the knife instead. So once we have those, I didn't want to go ahead and sand each one, so I just put them all together with the ends down. And then I'm just going to sand them all at once. It doesn't need much, just to, make them a little bit smoother. No big deal. Do it all at once. Make it easy. All right, and then we're going to figure out the assembly. Now, the box is upside down still, so I need to turn that around, and I will. But just, again, trying to figure out the size. And that craft stick is going to be the back part of the fence, or, you know, the top board that you would see on a fence. That's what that is. So here's where I'm trying to figure out if I should paint it or not. I wish I would have gone ahead and painted it. I should have listened to my first feeling, but I didn't. And I did also fill in those holes from that hanger. I filled those in with a little bit of this pink spackle, which isn't necessary, but I like it to look as finished as possible, so I went ahead and did that. And then the spackle that I was using is this Dry Dex. It turns white when it's dry, so that makes it easy. You could, of course, use the Dollar Tree spackle as well. Now here is where I'm just going to measure out where my little sticks are going to go along the side walls here. And again, there's going to be 6 sticks along each wall. And this happens to be just over 6 inches long. So it turned out pretty easily, pretty evenly. And then I'm just using hot glue. You might want to use wood glue if this is going to be, you know, a piece that you're going to pull out every year or whatever. But I'm just using hot glue, lining it up, starting with the corner. And just hot gluing it on. Just easy as that. Everyone knows how to do that. And since I had measured and I marked out the measurements, all I'm going to do is just line up the end with that measurement that I had already marked out. All right, and now we've got all the sticks all the way around, so now we're going to do, again, that second or the top board of the fence. So I'm just measuring out again. A full stick will work, but we should cut off the ends so that they don't hit each other. So that's what I'm doing. I had just used my knife and just cutting off the very trim, the very strands, I guess, on the ends there. Just making them smooth. And then I'm going to, again, just hot glue the strip on the back, or the inside, I guess, of the box. And I'm sorry you can't really see, but I'm just hot gluing the board in there. It's not difficult. And here we're going to start painting. Now this is a part where you could make it look any way you want. So if you want white, white is great. Off-white, you could do pink, blue, black. You know, this is where you can make it your own. And I am doing the interior or the inside as well. The inside bottom maybe not is maybe not as important, but I did it because I, again, do want that finished look. So just painting it all around. And the reason it was difficult was because of the little edges where the glue was. And then I'm going to go ahead and get the little flower ready. Now this little bottom piece, this flower was just put in cement, which was kind of cool. But I'm going to keep that little green wrap that I pulled off of that flower. And I end up only using this garland. Again, this is from Dollar Tree. And I am going to separate it from the little branch that they have because it's just strung through. So I'm just going to pull that off. And of course I'm going to save that, the brown piece or the stem, I guess they would consider it. I'm going to keep that for later, of course. So now you see it just looks a little bit more like just greenery. And then I'm going to try to figure out how I want it all set up. Now this is where I did go back and I put the little green piece that I had pulled off the bottom of that flower. I put that back in the bottom there. just so that it's not, you know, bright white if you're looking down into it. And you could have, you know, if you wanted to, you could have painted it or put a piece of craft paper or whatever, or just leave it white too. That's an option too. And then I'm just going to bundle up this garland. I want it to look really full, like it's just bursting with life in that little basket, or that little yard, I guess it would be. So I put a lot, that whole 9 feet of garland. And then I'm just going to set my eggs in there. Now this was a gray egg. You can't really tell, but it is light gray. And then the 2 pink eggs that I had painted. Which, by the way, wait until your eggs are dry. You can see me wiping off my fingers because I got paint all over myself. I'm not patient, so I didn't have time to wait. I just wanted to go ahead and put it together. I was excited, and got paint everywhere. And so you're just going to make, you know, arrange it, make it look how you want it to look. I did add a few of these little beads. I believe this little... I don't know what you call it, but you put it at the bottom, like on the table, on your dining table. I believe I got it from Hobby Lobby. So I'm just pulling off a few of those beads because those were kind of cute. And there it is. That's the finished result. I thought it looked pretty good for a little Easter tray basket type of thing. I was happy with it. All right, and here is our next craft. So for this is a reuse of one that I made for Valentine's Day. So I'm reusing this vase and also the vase stand that I made because it will work perfectly for this. This was just a box top and a piece of styrofoam and some glitter and a ping pong ball and some Spanish moss or any other kind of moss or greenery. And I had burlap here, but I ended up using a fabric instead. So you could just use fabric or you could use burlap or, you know, whatever else. And then just a small piece of cardboard. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a bunny. And so I just grabbed a bunny image online. This one was sitting up tall the way I wanted. And then some yarn to finish off the edges of the bunny. And some greenery and scissors and hot glue and all that. But here is the fabric that I actually ended up using. This is from Dollar Tree. So we're going to start off just by cutting out the bunny that we want. I am going to use the larger one because I think it will fit best in that vase. And it's pretty basic. Just going to cut it out. And once it's all cut out, then we're going to put it on the cardboard. Now, you could have found an easier way to do this, but this is just the way my brain worked, so this is the way I did it. You probably could have just made an indentation on the cardboard and cut out the cardboard, but I like to make things a little bit more difficult, a little extra, so this is my extra. All right, so once that's traced on, then we're going to go ahead and just cut that out. And again, it's just cutting like you did in kindergarten. Nothing, no big deal here. And once it's all cut out, then we are going to go ahead and put the fabric on. So again, that's a nice crafter square. I love this fabric. It's really pretty. It's kind of light though. I might actually recommend that you use a darker fabric if you have one, or if you use the burlap, that would have been dark enough as well. So what we're going to do is just going to cut out a small piece that's going to fit on the front and the back of our little bunny that we just cut out. And I'm going to use Mod Podge. I know everyone uses Mod Podge for everything. I don't have a lot of luck with Mod Podge all the time, but this, I thought, somehow I can't screw this up. So I just went ahead and put Mod Podge all over my little cardboard bunny. And then I'm just going to set it in the fabric piece that I had cut out. And then same thing, we're going to put more Mod Podge on the back. And again, just put the fabric on the back. And then I'm just using my little scraper that I use for my vinyl, just to make sure that there are no bubbles or anything in that Mod Podge. And then we're going to cut this out. Now this seemed to be a little bit more difficult than I would have imagined. So I first just took my big scissors and just cut out, you know, around the edges, and that was fine. And then there's this little gap, of course, where the cardboard gap is. So we are going to fix that with yarn later. But then I was going to try to get real close into that cardboard and, you know, be all creative. This was not working. My knife was too dull for this. If you had a super sharp craft knife or X-Acto type knife, you'd be okay. But you see all those strings and everything? It was horrible. So what I end up doing is getting my little baby scissors from Dollar Tree, and those work delightfully. Now, these are super sharp because I've never used them before. I have never found a use for them. But for this, they were perfect. They fit into the little space. They cut off nice and clean. Now, I'm not saying it was easy, but it was much better than that knife, my dull knife that I was trying to use. And then once we've got the fabric on the bunny and it's dry, I did bring it over to the hair dryer. I'm just going to start gluing some yarn. I put 2 pieces of yarn, twisted them together, and I'm going to glue the yarn on the edge all around this whole bunny. So that's what I'm doing here. And I lost all my footage, which doesn't matter. I'm just gluing yarn on. It's not that big of a deal. But I am going to leave a little piece right in the middle of the bunny because we're also going to make him a little tail. So just finishing off. I'm sorry, again, out of frame. I was focused, I guess, so you can't see what I'm doing. So there's the little tail piece that I left, and I'm trying to figure out which side is the front, which side should be the back. I'm going to tie a little knot in the piece that was left over, and then that's what's going to start my little bunny tail. And again, I'm just going to glue it down to his body, and then just wrap the remaining little strings there, wrap it around his little tail. We just want a little, you know, a little round tail. So there's his little bunny tail. And then I needed or wanted something for him to sit on inside my vase. So I grabbed this ping pong ball and we're going to cut it in half. Now, they are very easy to cut, but only after you've started it. So obviously be careful. Don't cut your finger off. You know, if you guys work in any kind of ER situation, you're probably cringing right now. But we're just going to cut the ping pong ball in half. Try to make it as even as possible. I was kind of sloppy with this. I was a little upset over that. But you want it to sit flat, basically. And I'm going to attach a little stick to the bottom of my bunny so that I can put the stick down into the half of the ping pong ball to make him stand up. Now, it probably would have been easier just to use a crafter's or a wood block, like a little Jenga block. But honestly, at this point, I hadn't even thought of that. So this is what I did. Probably use a Jenga block. It'd be easier. And then I'm just going to put a whole bunch of glue in that ping pong ball to make sure that stick stays. And that's going to need to dry for a while. And then we're going to just set it up. So I have my stand back. Again, this is a previous video that I did. I made this stand, so I'll try to link that below if I can remember. But I'm just going to put some moss down, and then I'm going to put my little bunny in there, cover up the ping pong ball. And I'm not going to use any glue or anything because I still want this to be interchangeable. The next holiday comes, I want to be able to take this out. So I'm just going to grab some little pieces of greenery. These were just some scraps I had, so I'm going to just stick those in, give it a little bit of a spring look. Not just Easter, but also spring. And then my favorite part is adding the lights. So these are those little string lights. You can get them from Dollar Tree. I believe these were from Walgreens. But I just stuck them in the jar and around the bunny. And that is just adorable, I think. And this is more of a piece that you would put, you know, on your shelf, and in the evenings when it's lit up, it looks really good. I should have turned off my light here so that you could have seen it a little better. But I really like the lights. I'm all about the lights. And again, if you would have used a darker piece of fabric or burlap, you would have been able to see your bunny a little easier. But I thought that was pretty cute. So now I have this up on my shelf, on my like decoration shelf where all my little crafts go. And it's so cute, along with that the tray, the wooden tray. And I just want to again thank Heidi Sonboul DIY for offering this challenge. It's my first ever challenge and so excited I could join in. Go ahead and visit her channel and the link to the other crafters down below. So thank you so much for stopping by Natty's Crafts. I do sure hope that you enjoyed the video and the crafts, and I'd appreciate it if you'd go ahead and give me a thumbs up and leave a comment and even subscribe. I do appreciate it. You guys have a great one.